Year's resolutions typically focus on things like finding a better work-life balance, eating healthier, or tackling much-needed home repairs. But tonight's guest says that focusing on how to become a better, more effective leader can unleash potential and open doors that will produce long-lasting benefits throughout the year and beyond. Dr. John Grinnell, welcome to North Carolina Now.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
For the past 30 years, you have been focusing on leadership and focusing a lot of your attention on companies and individuals here in North Carolina. So to begin with, as you work with these companies, public companies as well as private companies, how do you define leadership? Where does it all start for you?
Well, that's an excellent question. Leadership is one of those words that's used all the time, but I think that there's a deeper understanding of what leadership is, that when people know that, will allow them to be more effective as leaders. So I differentiate leadership from management. I think management is very important. You have to do it well. It keeps things running smoothly, keeps the ship upright and stable. But leadership is that special set of skills or special attitude or special thing that some individuals do, which is the ability to kind of, as I say, look through the front windshield of the car, see what's coming and turn the ship. Now, it's really sort of the adaptive force of the organization. It's probably one of the simplest things to understand, but one of the hardest things to do, because a leader really takes the step forward to do the right thing when others won't or can't.
And you talk in your work about leadership being involved with, quote, responsibility with integrity, perspective, and courage. Yeah. What does that mean?
Well, one of the things that I've learned or discovered over the years is, the leader is the guy, that man or woman in the middle of the night that's going to get out of bed and close the barn door. When others won't, they're going to get up and do the thing that needs doing. They're not going to stay in the comfort of their sheets. And that's kind of being responsible, a sense of even if it's not my job, I'm going to make sure it gets done. And that's sort of a, partly I think it's learned through your upbringing, but I think it's something it's just a basic wanting to make sure that things turn out right. And integrity is a key word. I use it a little differently. Of course, it's telling the truth. It's doing the right thing when others aren't looking, and you wouldn't get caught. You do the right thing anyway, as we all know. But more importantly, organizationally, integrity is kind of like the hull of a ship. And if one of those plates on that hull of that ship is loose, eventually that ship is going to slow down and sink. And integrity of the organization, particularly the leadership system in the organization, if one of those leaders is out of alignment, is going to eventually slow the ship and hurt its progress forward. So alignment and integrity to me are organizational aspect. And then courage, of course, is the ability to step up and do the right thing, even when it's uncomfortable or very difficult to do. And that's both personally, leadership applies both personally or professionally. But the leader is the one that has the ability to see the future that they want to create and do the right thing, even when it's personally very, very uncomfortable, they do it anyway.
In addition to working with companies and large organizations, you also do work with individuals. So what is that individual training like? When you sit down with someone one-on-one and you get them motivated to start thinking about their own personal leadership? Right.
Well, the biggest thing is to establish rapport or trust first, so the person will talk about the truth. Business people, as most people, they always create an image. They want to keep their image in place, and it's very difficult to make progress when you are worried about the image as opposed to talking about what's really going on in your life and your leadership. So the first step is to build the confidentiality and the trust and be a trusted partner. And then the second part is getting them to kind of clarify what are their goals. What is it they want to experience in their life while they're here, both personally or professionally. And the two work together. A lot of times, a lot of leaders will have come to us with business issues, and it ends up being the family issues really the one that's caused, or vice versa. And but building the trust and establishing rapport, finding where the goals that they really want, not the ones they think they should do, but what do you really want to experience out of your life. It's very easy to get lost in this life of doing a lot of things and lose track of who we are. So we like to help them discover, who am I, what do I want to experience this lifetime while I'm here, and then help them chart a path to that outcome.
One of the things that we've been seeing a lot of over the past decade or so is the increase in startup companies here in North Carolina. How is the leadership perspective different for a startup company than perhaps for an established business?
Right. Well, the startup, you've all heard the startup has to person has to do everything, and it's a tremendous energy demand. There's also times the person's not maybe that old yet, and they have young family. So a lot of balancing their time and their energies becomes critically important. How do I make those thoughtful agreements with myself and my family and my colleagues and move forward in a manner? But the startup situation is one that really requires a lot of what I call business faith. It's the ability to chart a path, chart a path, but then also taking the step into uncertainty. That's a very difficult step for people to make at different transition points. That's just the first one, startup. But to hang in there, take that step into uncertainty, do all the right things that you know, but then keep moving forward. And as I call it, build a bridge as you walk on it. And one of the things that any leader does that's problematic is they can sometimes get either overplan or underplan. Sometimes people overplan as a way to avoid taking the step into I call it the sea of uncertainty that will last for a while until you reach the other shore of where you want to get to. Or some people will underplan. It's kind of like they hold their nose and jump into the water too quickly and don't really pay attention. So we work with individuals, we try to help them get clarity around what they're trying to do, and then work with them on once they knew what they want to do, help them then be able to take that step into the sea of uncertainty. And no one can make that step. And that's probably the most fundamental thing I've learned about leadership in all these years, is leadership is entirely personal. You can have all the best laid plans, all the greatest things in the world, but unless you're willing to take that step off the edge into what I call the sea of uncertainty and have faith and move forward and solve problems as you go, until you take that step, no one's going to follow you. They're going to kind of feel the fact that you haven't really committed to that outcome or that goal yourself. That doesn't mean you don't correct it. You build the bridges, you walk on as you go, but you do go forward. And looking back is a problem. People that look back don't make great leaders in those kind of situations because they're worried about what if, instead of solving problems forward.
We are at the beginning of a new year. A lot of
Yes.
people making resolutions. Some of them may be to be a better leader.
Right.
So if you want to hone your leadership skills and start doing it in this new year, what are some steps folks need to take into consideration?
I got to tell you, I've really been thinking a lot about this and tweeting a lot about this. And frankly, Tom Peters, who's a very well-known fellow that I have frequent dialogues with, I really think listening is really listening to folks, the people that work with you, listening to your customers, listen to your people who work with the customers, taking time to really understand and then also greatly appreciate the effort and what people are putting into the company for you. Because people follow you by choice, and it's easy to forget that. I'm giving order. The fact is they're choosing to be there with you. They're giving their life energy, their lifetime. So I think listening to them, understanding them, and always having great appreciation for the work they're doing seems simple, but thank you is a huge thing for people who are working out there that are getting the job done for you. So as a leader, I think that, and the other one I think that's really important that I'm really finding is humility. And not the humility of humble pie, but the humility of understanding that whatever step we take in leadership, there's no certainty, no guarantee of success. But if we're doing the right thing and we put our all into it and we learn quickly from our mistakes, that's as best as you can do.
Finally,
Yes.
if our viewers want to know more about the work you're doing and your new book, Beyond Belief, Awaken Political Potential,
Awaken Potential Focused Leadership.
Yeah. What do they need to do?
Well, they can reach me through our website, which is grinnellleadership.com, or they can call us on our phone number. We're local phone at 919-929-2500. If you go to our website, you can, of course, get all that information. And I'm also on Twitter, messing around all the time at leadership, but it's spelled LEEDERSHIP, leadership.
Wonderful. Dr. Grinnell, thank you so much for sharing your time and expertise
My pleasure.
with us.
Thank you.